Good morning, good evening, good everything in between. Welcome to the podcast, episode 24. I think I said 24 last week, but I'm right this week. I'm your host, Jim Obernicki, and I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Gabe Lerman. How you doing, Gabe?
Newly refreshed and back from Japan. Man, what an incredible trip. I got to meet some of our colleagues over on the Japanese side of the Pacific League TV operations. I now have an official NPB scorebook that I picked up from the Japanese Baseball Hall of Fame, which I'll be using for next year's live stream broadcasts, so I don't lose my place in who's got what hits.
Oh, that's so cool. We definitely need to get like some pictures and video to upload to the YouTube channel for that when you do it next year. And I am also joined as always, more always than Gabe, which is always Mr. Michael Beasley. How you doing, Michael?
Yo, Gabe, you gonna take that? Not
Yeah,
yet.
I mean,
Oh,
legitimately, I was
yeah, no,
gone
I
the
mean,
last
like,
few
what do you
weeks.
mean? Like, yes, no, you know who is here always? It's Michael. I've missed more shows than Michael. Michael's the rock. You were the
they keep
rock
me
of the
locked
show.
up in the basement and they don't let me leave.
Well, it's because you're from Philly. Those are just your living conditions.
I'm not from Philly. I'm from 20 minutes outside of Philly.
Oh God. Oh, this guy. Like, I'm not from Phoenix. I'm from Tempe. Okay. I actually don't know.
I don't even know what a Tempe is,
I
my
don't know how
guy.
close those places were. I just didn't want to go Canadian. I'm not from Montreal. I'm from Laval. There you go.
All I know is that it's been like 5 billion years since the last NPB game. I swear. Can we
Yeah,
just get on
no,
with the Japan
yeah.
series already?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, it has been a while. We saw the Buffaloes take out the Marines pretty quickly, but I mean, it is what it is. And so let's get over to the what little news we have. Our September and October MVPs are in. On the pitching side, it's Yoshinobu Yamamoto of the Let's Go, I Hope They Win, or ex-Buffaloes. 4-1 in his last five starts with a sub-1 ERA with 0.49, 39 innings pitched, 41 strikeouts, and one complete game shutout. I think that definitely deserves MVP for the month. And also on the other side, one of my favorite players, Ukio Shuto, with I couldn't believe it when I saw the stat line. He batted 330, 352 with a 398 on his slash line in 26 games, including one home run, a big home run. I do remember that. 8 RBI and 12 stolen bases. 12 stolen bases even seems like a low number for him. This guy, I swear, he steals a base every time he's on base. And so, as we, we didn't really have many games to talk about this week. Let's talk about some news. Gabe, what do you have for us this week?
I mean, I don't want to bury the lead. We've got a Japan series coming up. The
Woo!
first all Kansai series in 59 years. Back then in 1964, the Nankai Hawks, now known as the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks, beat the Hanshin Tigers in a 7-game classic. Now, of course, it's the Hanshin Tigers and your 3-time Climax Series champion, Oryx Buffaloes.
Kana ubeki yume no saki
So I did a little position by position thoughts. I went to various stat sites, listed down the top players for each of the teams. So here's my interpretation of it at a very surface level. Mike, Jimbo, stop me if you ever want to chime in. Catcher wise, Oryx has this position by a mile. You got Tomoya Mori, who, when he's not DHing, will be behind the plate, and Kenya Wakatsuki, who, in addition to his great defense, even put up a 100 OPS plus, so exactly league average offense. Seishiro Sakamoto and Ryotaro Umeno, as much as I adore Umeno, they just can't compete this season.
Yeah, that one's not even close. That one goes to the Buffaloes right away.
I'd say even with just Mori, it's not even close.
Yeah,
Me
basically.
personally.
At first base, Yuma Tongu and Yusuke Oyama are about equal in OPS. Oyama has a slightly better on base and durability. Tongu, of course, had that leg injury. Oyama played all 143 games this season. It's a wash. It's a tie.
That's
hard
fair.
to really call it between the two. I mean, Tongu won the PL batting title, but Oyama's been a clutch batter in that Tigers lineup. Tough to call. At second base, WBC champion Takumu Nakano is better than any of the guys the Buffaloes have put there. Adachi, Gonzalez, Gibo, Ota, as much as I love Video Ota, none of them have the defensive chops of Takumu Nakano. So that's one for the Tigers, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
Third base, as much as I adore Yuma Mune and his golden glove, He was only an 88 OPS plus this season, so a little bit below league average. Teruaki Sato converted from right field to third base quite capably and has 149 OPS plus, so almost 50% better than the average NPB player. Got to give this one to the Tigers. At shortstop, you have to give credit to Seiya Kinami from Hanshin for having a bounce-back season, but Kotaro Kurebayashi gets the nod here for both his bat being above average and his glove being above average. And let's not forget, Kurebayashi will be representing Japan in the Under-23 Baseball World Cup later this year.
I always thought he was way older than that. Like, he's so good. Like, wow, okay, that's impressive.
Mm-hmm. In the outfield, this is close. Because the Buffaloes have Yutaro Sugimoto, who brings some pop, and Keita Nakagawa as that contact leadoff bat. But the Tigers have likely CL MVP Koji Chikamoto in center field, an incredible speedster and extra base hitter, and Shota Morishita as a rookie with some additional pop. If it comes down to the third outfielders, you have Sheldon Noyce, who was a sub-replacement player by wins above replacement, against Tokumasa Chano or Tomoya Noguchi. Buffaloes get this one. Starting pitching, and now things get really difficult.
This is going to get rough.
Because, the top of the Buffaloes rotation is really good, with ace of aces, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, sophomore lefty, Hiroya Miyagi, and then three solid starters in Sachia Yamasaki, Daiki Tajima, and Kohei Azuma. That's really, really good. No one else at NPB really matches up to YY in terms of talent. But the other matchups in the rotation are closer competitions. For the Tigers, they're likely going to be going with likely rookie of the year Shoki Murakami, Masashi Ito, Kotaro Otake, former SoftBank Hawk no less, and Hiroto Saiki. All four of those guys have ERAs under 2.5. And then you throw in veteran former Pacific Leaguer Yuki Nishi, Hanshin by a hair. It's like, so close.
You know why those guys have ERAs under 2.5? Because they didn't have to play the Buffaloes all season. That's what I'll tell you right now.
Also, pitchers still bat in the other league, so that depresses everyone's batting
stats.
That's
true. Very good observation, actually. I didn't think about that.
And the DH will only be in effect for Pacific League hosted games. Something to watch for. Relief pitching. Both have really strong setup men. So Soichiro Yamazaki, Shota Abe, and Yuki Udagawa for the Buffaloes. Ren Kajiya, Yuta Iwasada, and Daiichi Ishii for the Tigers. What puts the Tigers ahead is Iwasaki. More saves than Yoshihisa Hirano by 6 and a better whip. Only .821 walks or hits per innings pitched for Suguru Iwasaki versus 1.225 for Hirano. Tigers by a whisker. In summary, this is going to give everyone heart palpitations. It's going to be very close, a very fun competition, and I am struggling to find a way to watch it in North America.
Yep, unfortunately, unlike most other things we have, you can't watch it on PLTV, but you can get a lot of stuff on PLTV. Take a listen to some of the things you can get.
Oh, that's a smooth transition, though.
Hey, my name's Shane, and I swear, I'm a real consumer, just like you. So I just replaced all my expensive shorts with...
What are you doing in here? I thought I threw you out already.
I gotta go, bye.
How do they keep getting in here? That's the third advertiser I've thrown out today. When you subscribe to Pacific League TV, there's no ads. Nothing in between innings, nothing for a pitching change. You get to see all the action on the field. And of course, you also get full archives going back to 2011. All the baseball you could ever want to watch, and nobody trying to convince you to buy some clothing brand you've never heard of. 1450 yen per month. That's like $10 in today's exchange rate. And you get all that and no ads. Okay, but for real, who's letting these guys in here? Jim? Gabe? Is it any of you? Well, it's not me.
And so that brings us to the meat of the show, our normal Around the Horn segment. But given sort of the focus on the Japan series and how we kind of only have draft stuff to update you on, but we do have some draft stuff to update you on, we're going to call this segment the Infield Fly Rule segment. It's going to be a little shorter, and we're going to take a little smaller look at all the teams around the league. But let's start off with the Oryx Buffaloes, though. I guess now that I'm thinking about it, you don't really probably have much to add other than what we just went over. Do you?
Yeah, like the see previous commentary. I don't have much insight on the Buffaloes' first 2 draft picks, Seiya Yokoyama, infielder from Ueda Nishi High School, or Kosuke Kawachi from Catalina Gakuen High School. So Buffalo's going with infielding and pitching. Their strong suit. I mean, any sort of pitcher who comes up through either the main or the developmental draft for the Buffaloes can turn into a threat. See Kohei Azuma or Yuki Utagawa. So keep an eye on that Kawachi guy, I think is the gist of my point here.
And that brings us over to the team that the Buffaloes took out. So I guess they are, I think, officially, firmly, nothing can change this. The second place team in the league this year, the Chipolode Marines. Take it away, Mike.
Why didn't you just call us a team that took SoftBank out?
Because you obviously had to do that to be second.
Uh-huh.
Everyone knows that.
But anyway, Gabe, I think we should call our good friend Steve, because I was reading earlier today that one of his favorite Lotte players, Hiromi Oka, said at fall practice earlier this week that he does not plan on exercising his free agent rights and wants to remain with the Chipolate Marines for the foreseeable future.
Mr. Clutch himself. He was the one who got the 2 RBI hit in the 7th of our final broadcast this season.
Seems every time there's a big moment, he's involved in it somewhere on either side of the ball. But he told reporters that he wants to remain with the team and his goal remains the same. The typical, sports media talk. We want to win a championship, et cetera, et cetera. But he did say that since he set career highs in at-bats, hits, home runs, and RBI, he's going to try his hardest to get a starting job next season. He's primarily been an injury replacement, a bench bat for the Marines. And I found it interesting that he's openly stating, I want to get the starting job because he's going to be up against Takashi Ogino, Katsuya Kakunaka, Koshiro Wada, Shingo Ichikawa, Kyoto Fujiwara, Koki Yamaguchi, everybody on the farm team. So that's a difficult thing that he's set out for himself with only 3 starting outfield positions. And then also Lotte's former ace, now that's obviously Roki Sasaki, Ayumu Ichikawa, has undergone right shoulder surgery and is expected to return to practice within 3 to 4 months. He did not pitch for the top team this season. He only made 3 starts on the farm after he came back from injury about in the middle of the season. It's the first time in 10 years he has not collected a win in the start, which I found to be interesting. He was supposed to be the opening day starter, but once again, due to injury, that went to Kazuya Ojima, and he came back late August. And I would say Lotte really felt his absence this year. Between him and Sasaki, you would have had a really nice, 2-headed dragon. The Tanaichi pitched amazing, so that would have been a great lineup. So next year, if everyone can stay healthy, a pitching rotation of Roki Sasaki, Atsuki Tanaichi, Ayumu Ishikawa, Kazuya Ojima, maybe bring back Mercedes, go get back Andy Romero if he has any interest, get a new foreign pitcher. I think that could be a really good rotation for them and something to look forward to.
Yeah, seriously, Mercedes is to have Mercedes is probably your 5th best starter. That's a really good number 5 starter.
That's a really good problem to have. And he was someone I think we talked about, he pitched really well, but it was he never got lucky, I guess. It was always on the losing end, but it never seemed like it was his fault.
Yeah, no, yeah, he was a good arm last season.
And then, and of course, the NPB draft was, what was it, this morning?
If you take a look at my Twitter profile, the official NPB YouTube account, good friends of ours here on YouTube, posted highlights of every single team as well as a highlight reel of the overall draft in the first round. That first round, for those of you who aren't familiar with the NPB draft, teams can pick just anyone, including overlapping each other's picks. So if more than one team picks a player, they have to pull a lottery draw to see who actually wins the rights to that player. And Mike, your team, not so lucky.
Yeah, we don't have the manager with the God hand, as they called him for many years. Iguchi has since retired. But yeah, they made 3 picks and missed out on all 3 in the lottery. They ultimately getting their 4th, who was Kyoto Ueda, an infielder from Meiji University. Of course, as described by his teammates, he's a hardworking captain, praised his dedication, great infielder, great hitter. For his college career, he has a .312 batting average, 10 home runs, 74 RBI, and which is actually the 4th best in Big Six history from what I'm reading, which is crazy considering how long the Tokyo Big Six has been around.
It predates professional baseball. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. I don't know how
That's
short their
weird.
season
That's
is.
wild. Yeah.
Yeah, so excited to see him. Hopefully, we can get lucky and have one of those first round draft picks that makes the starting team, makes the top team on opening day and just goes off, and it is amazing. But we'll see. And one thing I'd like to add, I keep forgetting that when the season ends for the NPB teams, the players don't all go home for the most part. They start going to fall practice, which is held in full uniform in the team stadium. And every year I forget this, and every year it catches me off guard to see interviews conducted of the players in full uniform at batting practice when there's nothing to play for.
Not to mention the Miyazaki Phoenix League in Miyazaki Prefecture in Japan. So all 12 NPB teams are sending their youngsters down, along with a team made up of the Shikoku Island League All-Stars, and a few KBO clubs are participating.
I think it's pretty much replaced the Asian Winter League that was in Taiwan some years ago. I don't think that ever came back after COVID. That was pretty similar. But yeah, that's all I got for right now for Lotte.
And that brings us over to the third place team in the league, the team that got eliminated by the Marines in the playoffs. See, I can give you your credit. The Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks. So I've been paying a lot of attention to their draft news this week. And so I heard that they were interested in Natsuki Takeuchi from Kokugakuin University, who was one of the top prospects in the draft. I'd seen a bit of him. I'd seen some stuff, and I was like, okay, yeah, he looks good. He seems like a great fit for the Hawks. Then they try to get him. They don't get him. He ends up going to Cebu. More on that later, obviously. And instead, the Hawks end up picking Yugo Maeda, who I assumed hadn't been on the board because he was such a good prospect. I saw some stuff of this guy in the Koshin, or like some videos before Koshin, talking about him being a great prospect. And I was like, wow, okay, I know he got injured, but it's crazy that the Hawks accidentally got him when I think he's kind of a better prospect, all things considered. So that's a great get for the Hawks. And then they also then get in the second round Shunsuke Iwai, who is also a really strong prospect. I was watching some videos of this guy. He's got a nice mid-90s fastball and good breaking stuff. Don't know why he didn't go in the first round, honestly. He seems like a great pick. So I am very happy with what the Hawks are doing so far. They need some help with pitching. They got themselves some pitching, so that works for me. And that brings us over to the fourth place team in the league, the Tohoku Rakuten Golden Eagles. What do you got for us this week, Mike?
As for general non-draft news, there's really not much going on right now other than that managerial change we had last week. But their first round pick was
Tatsuki Koja,
who, from what I am reading, many think is already ready to pitch on the top team. He has a nice mid-90s fastball, 95, 96. And the more research I did, the more I found analysts and everyone saying this kid's going to be in the starting rotation on opening day, and I have no choice but to really trust them because I can't watch every high school game. And he did say after he got drafted, he was excited to go to the Eagles, called Masahiro Tanaka was his childhood hero, and he did grow up watching Masahiro Tanaka, which makes me feel ancient, even though I swear to God, I'm not old, guys.
You're probably like 2 years older than he is.
There are guys born in 2005 and 2006 in this year's draft. Excuse me while I fade to grayscale.
Yeah, seriously. Adam Wainwright, the guy I grew up watching, is like 50 or whatever the hell.
So the convenience store chain here, Wawa, 1 year after I was already working, graduated from high school, I noticed that the tobacco counter says no tobacco if you're born after this date. It's one day it had my date of birth on there, and I was like, oh. That's horrible. And then 1 year it had like 3 years after my date of birth, and I was like, oh God, that's even worse. I mean, if he's ready for the starting rotation,
Koja,
that once again, that'd be a great rotation. Tanaka, Norimoto, Kishi,
Koja,
a new foreign arm, which once again brings me to the question that I had, some podcasts ago. Is the ball really dead, or does everybody just have an amazing rotation at this point?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, I think the pitching talent right now is just crazy in Japan. Like, it's just off the hook. Like, I don't think it's a dead ball thing. I think it's a, like, pitchers are dealing thing.
I just don't think the hitters have a chance. I think that's where we're at now. But one more fun fact about
Koja.
He has a personal ban on soft drinks that he lifted after he got drafted, and he had a Ramune soda to celebrate.
I was about to say that's awesome until the last part of that story. Screw soft drinks. Never have them.
I mean, I stopped drinking them this year, but he had a nice blue Ramune, apparently, and then after that he is done on soft drinks again.
Oh, there we go. Okay, if that's his only one, good on him. That's the proper way to go.
Local man hates soft drinks.
And that brings us over to the fifth place team in the league, the Saitama Seibu Lions. Now, I've got a lot of sort of draft opinions about this, because I put a lot of thought into it, because I was really like looking into the Lions and thinking about who they could draft. Now, first of all, I don't think anyone suffered more from Rintaro Sasaki going to America more than the Lions. I, all season long, could see Sasaki in a Lions uniform. He brought everything they needed. He could have brought huge pop. He could have brought marketability. He would have been a huge get for the Lions if they got him. Now that's out of the window, right? Obviously. So then I was thinking, well, what are they going to do otherwise? And I looked at the roster. I'm like, well, as we talked about all season long, their pitching's great. Starting pitching, great. They need big time bullpen help, and they need some outfield bats. And so naturally, they ended up picking 5 pitchers through their 5 first rounds, which I thought was kind of confusing. If I were in the situation they were in, I would draft a little more towards need than to stacking up on the thing you already have really good talent on, especially because they're not even drafting like closing specialists. They're drafting guys like Natsuki Takaichi, who I mentioned before from Kokuakin University, who looks like he could pitch day one in the NPB. Maybe just a little bit of seasoning in the second club, but he looks Ichigun ready to get out there. Do they really need that right now? Like, I don't know. And then they also got Taiga Ueda in their second round, who also looks like a very much a sort of polished prospect, but it seems like it's like they're trying to get more depth at a position they already have the most depth at. I found it very confusing, but maybe things will work out in the end. Maybe I wasn't paying enough attention. There wasn't enough hitting talent where they were picking at wherever, but I'm a little suspect of the picks. Again, Rentaro Sasaki would have been the ideal, but I guess we'll see. Maybe they know some sort of contract situation that I'm not aware of.
I also want to chime in because I caught this when I was reading over the draft results, and his name stuck out to me. The first round selection from the Lions in the developmental draft, Joseph Konosuke Sinclair,
Okay.
Saitama Prefecture born, Canadian raised.
Ooh.
And he played last season with the Tokushima Indigo Sox in the Shikoku Island League. Over 11 appearances, 27 innings pitched, 0.56 ERA with 21 strikeouts. So
okay.
almost a 9K per 9. And it's interesting to see how he could develop as another one of those dual language stars like Gosuke Kato for the Fighters, like Kenta Bright over in the other league. Could be interesting to see more bilingual players and thus more bilingual content for us NPB fans.
Ooh, where in Canada is he from? I feel like if you jumped over early enough to play in the island.
Vancouver.
Bingo. Boom, 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 boom.
His LinkedIn also says North Dakota.
Yeah, he went to Cochise Junior College and University of St. Mary in the U.S.
Yeah.
Interesting. And that brings us over to the last place team in the league, though. I mean, again, we're kind of in the off season. It's not really any sort of judgment. It's just where we ended up at the end of it. The Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters. What do you have for us this week, Gabe?
One thing that stuck out to me with the draft is a fellow NPB pundit on Twitter saying he thinks the Fighters stumbled, his word, into the best draft last night. They lost 2 lotteries. They settled on a pitcher with the highest ceiling, got an elite defensive catcher and outfielder, and even grabbed a high school slugger with 20 home run upside in the 4th round. The pitcher that they mentioned, the highest ceiling, that's Haruki Hosono, who was a member of the Japan USA Collegiate Baseball Championship Series team, who won the deciding game in the US against their collegiate team in the final of that best-of-5 series. So it's interesting to see how these guys might ultimately develop. Hosono, because he's from college, might be rushed to the team a little bit faster. Ditto for the catcher, Yuya Shinto. I've mentioned that the Fighters do have a decent catcher in Torai Fushimi. It'll be interesting to see what the plan is for Shinto to be either a backup or to push him to learn more in the farm. But that's not all the youngsters that the Fighters have acquired. Back on October 16th, I don't know if you guys covered this, the Fighters announced they're signing an 18-year-old Taiwanese right-handed pitcher, Sun Yi Lei. CBLstats.com gave me the information on this. There were offers from MLB organizations, but Sun joined the Fighters because of their development plan for him, which he liked, and the consideration and care they gave him and his family. Back in the 2023 Under-18 World Cup, Soon posted a .5 ERA with 15 strikeouts in 14 innings.
His fastball is already touching 97 miles an hour.
And he has 3 secondary pitches to go with it. Another potential Taiwanese Titan. We know how much Sung Cha Hao kicks butt for the Eagles. It'll be interesting to see how Sun Yi Lei develops.
Oh, actually, that sounds really cool. I'm going to look him up and check some of that out. And while I'm looking it up and checking him out, we're going to play a little ad break. Take a listen.
So, you want to watch Pacific League games, but can't get up early during the week,
I work from home.
or stay up late enough on the weekends.
I have a life, you weirdos.
Not to worry, we've got you covered. FTF Sports broadcasts a game of the day with English commentary, Tuesdays through Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. Check your set-top box channel list or visit ftfsports.com for streaming options. With FTF, the Pacific League is finally on your schedule.
And to bring us over towards the end of the show, we've got to check out our familiar faces in very new places. And instead of checking out America, I think we have something for the Middle East. What do you have for us this week, Gabe?
So Baseball United is a new league that's going to be starting up in Middle East and North Africa area next season in 2024. And a few familiar faces from the Pacific League have been drafted by this league. Former Buffalo Stephen Moya was selected 2nd overall by the Karachi Monarchs. Courtney Hawkins, who played with the SoftBank Hawks last season, was drafted by the Dubai Wolves in the 2nd round. And in the 5th round, Rusney Castillo, one-time Golden Eagle, was chosen by the Abu Dhabi Falcons, as was fighter and Marine legend Brandon Laird by the Mumbai Cobras. The Sushi Boy is back in pro baseball. Best of luck to him. I'm not sure they do sushi in Mumbai.
Mumbai Cobras, number one. Number one.
He may have to become the curry boy now. I don't know.
Oh, that's good. Oh,
Papadum boy. But yeah, it's interesting to see baseball with like serious chops get started up in new geographies. I mean, if you want to go down memory lane, take a look at some of the other names that have been drafted from the Baseball United draft results. It's a bit of a trip. Shall I run down some of the names?
Sure.
Didi Gregorius went to the Wolves.
Okay.
Pablo Sandoval to the Falcons. Robinson Cano to the Wolves. And Drelton Simmons to the Cobras.
Michael Robinson Cano was this guy. He played before 2010. He was very good.
He got popped for roids like twice. I know who that is. And he was on the Mets.
Jared Jurgens to the Wolves. If he actually shows up to play, this is going to be legendary. To the Karachi Monarchs in the 2nd round, Bartolo Colon.
The king. Man played for the Expos. Need I say more? The king.
The 3rd round's also got a couple familiar names for any Hanshin fans who've tuned in. Jeffrey Marte and William Rosario both getting selected, as well as good Canadian kid Jacob Robson. It's interesting to see what kind of a philosophy that these teams have put together. I hope that they do broadcasts because this seems really fun.
Yeah, we should definitely. I mean, yeah, if they do broadcasts, I'm definitely going to check it out, and hopefully other people do too. And like, listen, baseball being played anywhere, helping propagate the game around the world is always a good thing.
Especially if it shows up as a winter league. Like right now, the only winter leagues in Anglophone countries are the Australian Baseball League, and that's it. I mean, the ABL is a good friend of the NPB. A number of players have gone between the two leagues. Maybe this is another developmental pipeline.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, like I was saying, like the more people it's exposed to, the more talent might end up coming to it. And so I think that brings us over to our final segment of the day, the question of the day. And it's the easiest question, the most obvious question, the most straightforward question of them all. On the eve, we're right about to get to the Japan series for like a day or two. Who do you have winning the Japan series? Give me who's going to win, how many games, and who do you think the MVP will be? And we'll actually start with you, Michael, because I feel like I know what Gabe's going to say. What do you got, Mike?
I feel like I'm only supposed to say Oryx wins, so I'm going to say Oryx wins.
Well, how many games and who will be MVP?
Oryx will win in 4 games.
Ooh, spicy. What do you got, Gabe?
Conflict. Deep inner conflict.
Hey, I've been there.
Can't they both win?
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
I mean, I've been seeing some of the merchandise that the two teams have been putting out. They've got some amazing logos. They've got their mascots on merch. There's a clear brotherly love between the Tigers and Buffaloes. Can't they do like those two high jumpers did in the Olympics and ask to just be both winning gold medals? Please spare me the heartache. Because I can't believe I'm saying this. I think I said it before, but I'm saying it again. Tigers in 7.
Boo.
It's gonna be heartbreaking.
Who do you think is MVP though for the Tigers?
Yusuke Oyama.
Interesting. So I'm gonna do my due diligence, and I've really thought about it, and I really examined it, and I'm not just saying this because it's the company line. I really do think, looking at it, I think the Buffaloes are not solidly. I think they're better than the Tigers, just by a bit. And I think Tomoya Mori is going to go off. I think the Tigers are going to win it in 6, and Mori's going to really carry them out. I think Sugimoto and Kuribayashi are going to be huge factors too, but I got Buffaloes in 6. They're going to take it to the Tigers, and let's go Buffaloes. Let's go PL. And with that, that brings us to the end of today's show. Thank you so much, ever as always, for listening, and we hope to see you next time. Be sure to check out the games and check out the channel for more English content, and we'll see you next time. Take care.